Okay, so this is I don't know really what to call this. Let's call it a video log. There we go. So this is just an update, just to keep things flowing with the film, to keep a record for myself of the process that I go on to when I'm making a film, and then hopefully I can look back at this and I can look back at what I did right and what I did wrong. So let's get started. So my new film that's coming out is going to be called Dream Reel, and so far I've taken a few different approaches this time. We've got this masterpiece right here, which is a giant structure layout of my latest film, and why it's different from every other film that I've made before is I'm laying it out on the wall, and instead of following a standard story structure of Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then you've got your final conflict at the end, this time I'm building up with 6-stage plot structure. I found it on the internet. It seems to be quite good so far. Hopefully it will turn out to be a lot better in terms of structure than any film I've ever made. And to be honest, if every new film I'm making isn't improving, then what's the real point in that? What's the point in continuing with film if I'm not constantly improving? So this should be the best script I've ever made, should be the best film that I've ever directed, and should be the best film that I've ever produced / written. New things about this that is quite a struggle from the last film. Budget is quite a lot higher, really. We're talking into the range of £400 for props alone, and yeah, that's quite a lot more than I usually go with. I'm going to be making quite a lot of the props myself, which is just a fun part of it, to be honest. I always do enjoy making the props, and with it being a sci-fi film as well, it means that I get to make some interesting, flashy sort of props. Like, show you the first prop that I've been working on. Okay, so this is a keyboard from the Amstrad gaming computer range. Came out in the 1980s, so it's perfectly thematic with the whole theme of a science fiction, alternate reality, 80s twisted technology world. And here we go. Problem I initially saw with it was too recognizable for it to be an alternate reality, and this machine itself in the film is supposed to bring the character into the new world, the new situation that they have to deal with. It can't be that recognizable. I don't mind if people, that's an Amstrad, or like in the movie Aliens, when people look at the big huge machine guns they've got and they're like, oh, that's a Steadicam. But it has to be different enough that they're not thinking that it's just an Amstrad computer. That's why I took out the thing that I did love the most about this, which is the tape deck. And with this Amstrad CPC computer, you do have the games that come on tapes, which is awesome, but it's way too recognizable. So I've put this in here, and this is like an LED matrix paired up with an Arduino, and then it's programmed to do a little LED display. I'll just see if I can power that up for you. Power pack. And currently it runs on a battery pack, like your standard phone charger. It goes through a USB, blah de blah de blah. Power. And there we go. So, because it's a NeoPixel kind of knockoff, each LED can be arranged with 3 different colors, red, green, and blue. But the red, green, and blue are way too distracting, so I'm just thinking about keeping it as a white LED system, maybe a lot like the mother computer in Alien. It's interesting sci-fi, it's futuristic, but if they didn't have the technology back then, but if they did have flashing colors in the background, constantly changing then it would be way too distracting for the audience. And the whole point of this, paired with a giant LCD screen, is it's supposed to be this daunting, almost HAL, like from 2001 Space Odyssey, daunting screen that's kind of looking into your soul. It's empty, but you feel like something's there looking at you. And that's kind of what I want to go for this with my computer. So I'm going to play down the LEDs on that. The next prop that's going to be an interesting one, I'm currently working on with an Arduino as well. It's going to be a little wallet system. So you open it up and it tells you your how much money you have in your account, how much money has gone into your account, how much you have left. It's basically just how you would use a banking app nowadays, but in this world, instead of having your standard wallet with your coins in it and having a wallet with notes, you have a wallet which is fully digital, but it's still quite limited to a terminal green sort of look to it. And that's coming along nicely. It's slow, but it's working, so we've got that. Other aspects of the film that I'm still working on. Location, that's going to be a fun one. And for my last one, I chose filming it in a forest. It was a good location. I always love it. It's nearby, easy to get actors out. Main issues you have to deal with is lighting it. Being a forest, it is quite dark, and even during the daytime, for the daytime scenes, it is particularly dark to film, and so the lighting is something I have to deal with in that. Other issues are the cold. It was filmed around the winter. Making sure the actors have enough breaks, and making sure that they can warm up in between shoots, because we did have a fire on set, but it was completely artificial and it was made by LED lights, so there's no chance of anybody getting warm from that. Whereas with this, I'm working on shooting in a house or a flat, and that being said, it has to be exactly what I want. You have to see everything from one shot. You can see the bedroom, you can see the kitchen, and then you can also see the main computer space where the protagonist is spending most of her time. And in this way we can do this really nice montage where everything can be done in one solid pan, and you have the character move from the bedroom to the kitchen to doing gaming, and then you can see their entire life in one shot. And so far I've got the perfect location picked out. I'll just get that for you there. So here's the production file so far, and that's the Dreamwheel computer itself. And we're going into the locations. Let's get to it. Okay. Here we go. Just knock the camera there slightly. Yeah, so this is the location at the moment. It still needs to be confirmed, but it's an Airbnb. It should be relatively easy to get to. It's Northwich, which is about half an hour to 40 minutes away from the prep area, which is currently my house. It's a brilliant location, £40 a night. I did read online that some people aren't too much of a big fan of letting people film at their Airbnb, just because some people are just awful, like with their films. They'll focus on getting the film done and not focus on keeping things not trashed, really. In order to plan it out before I've actually got the location, I've been working on, it's kind of a new way to approach a floor plan. Here we go, I'll show you it now. Here we go. So I've built a model of the set out of popsicle sticks, glue. You can't really see it. And there's our protagonist there, just in their little chair. This way is quite good because I can kind of, as somebody who's not great at drawing, I can stick my phone in here and then I can take the shots that I want to do with my phone and sort of create a rough storyboard idea. Obviously changes need to be made depending on what location we actually use in the end, but this is what I planned when I was writing the script. You've got things like mini pizza boxes and takeaway food, And another problem with this film as well is they're living in this rut in their identity before they move into their essence, and this rut is kind of a shithole, really, to be honest. It's pizza boxes, takeaway food. You've got rubbish building up, and it'd be fine if I could just use my own room because it's not too far from that anyway. But turning a set into that and then dealing with cleanup afterwards means that I have to make sure everything that I do to the location can be fixed and put back to normal in like a second flat without any issues of say the landlord. The landlord having an issue with me filming there, not wanting us to come back and reshoot. Just making sure they're all happy with that, really. Saying a lot of ums. Another thing as well, I'm going to be doing a bit different. I'll be working with a glide cam, and this is it's not got the camera on it, so it's not weighted correctly. Let's see it there fully. But glide cam is basically it's a cheap lightweight stabilizer, and this one's pretty good. It does the job. It's Neewer as well, and I do love Neewer as a brand for a low budget filmmaker. Neewer is a godsend, really. All my equipment is pretty much Neewer apart from the camera itself. You've got Neewer lighting, you've got Neewer sandbags, you've got pretty much everything. Even my monitor's Neewer, really, and Neewer have always worked for me. They've been cheap, but they've always done the job well. And some people will think, why don't you step up and buy really expensive equipment like, say, a Manfrotto, or you're getting into like custom Canon LCD screens, or you go in the name brands like Samsung. And the reason why is because unless I'm using these full time every single day, then there's no real need for me to do that. There's not a need to get something that's not going to do anything better, to be honest. The newer stuff, it works, it does the job, and it does it well. And if I wanted to buy something that's going to be more reliable, say for 10, 20 years plus, then yes, I'll get the Manfrotto. I'll get all this big equipment that's going to last that long. But the current stage in my development with my film career, there's no need for that. Let's think. Other things that's going to be a bit interesting with this film, funding. My last film was entirely funded by myself and my co-writer, and we basically just went out of pocket, and we sold a few DVDs at the end. We made a little money from it, but it mainly was friends and family who just wanted to support us as filmmakers and make sure that we got something out of it that we can put towards the next film. And to be honest, they do get something out of it. They get like a poster, or they get a DVD, and they get it all signed by the cast on the premiere. And it's kind of a fun thing for the actors to have a premiere. The actors come along. It's great for the crew. Everybody has a nice time to see something that we've all put so much effort into, and something actually comes from it. And you get to celebrate it with your friends and family. So that was quite nice. And I will for sure be doing a premiere with this film. Let's think. So budgeting with this one is going to be a bit different. I'm going to be doing a crowdfunding video, and then I'm going to be making the actual film itself. And the crowdfunding video is kind of going to be like a trailer. If you think of all the footage in the trailer, it's not actually going to be used in the full film. That's kind of what this crowdfunding video is going to be. So I'll be using a different cast. I'll probably end up using the same crew. Might even use a different location in the end, but it's mainly to draw attention to it, because I don't want to do one of these stupid talk to the camera crowdfunding videos where I'm like, hey, look at my film, it's great, come support me. I'm just going to talk to the camera and tell you about it, and say why is it so great, and show you that I'm passionate about it. And that's a good thing about a Kickstarter, is a Kickstarter or a crowdfunder is to show people how passionate you are. But unless they actually see anything from the film itself, any energy, any types of shots, unless they get a feel that you as a director can actually make this happen, then why would they fund this? And And I don't want it to seem like begging either. I don't want to be online like, please give me money so I can make my film. It means a lot to me. I want people to want to fund the film so they can become part of the project, so that they can be involved with it, so that they know if they put so amount of money, they can get an early copy of the film, or they can come to the premiere, or they can get an exclusive poster which is signed by the cast and crew. I want people to feel that by funding this film, they're not taking part in a charity. That's the main thing. I want people to feel like it's a genuinely general good use of their money. So yeah, that's the crowdfunding and the money situation gone over. Another big part of this film is it's going to be a bit of a challenge for me working with a female protagonist and a lesbian relationship, and people might be thinking if this film actually goes anywhere, and I'll put all my effort in and I want it to be as successful as possible, and I want it to change people when they watch it, but I feel like there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to be thinking, oh, you just chose to do a female protagonist and you just chose it to be about a lesbian relationship because you want to you want to get the minorities watching. You just want to pander to them and make sure that, oh, it's very trendy at the moment to do something about a female lead and a gay relationship. And that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about at all. The whole point in this film having a female lead and the relationship being a lesbian relationship is because it isn't a point. That's the point. It sounds stupid, but I want this film to show people that having a female lead doesn't mean anything, and having a lesbian relationship doesn't mean anything, that everybody can identify with these characters, and a female lead is just as relatable as a male lead. And I think the prime example of that is Alien. Anyone can relate to Ripley. Anyone can see Alien and just be like, oh, I can identify with her. There's nothing inherently alienating a male audience. There's nothing saying that, oh, it's for girls. It's not like Sex and the City. It's just the fact that she's female doesn't even matter. It's just that she is a female role. And some of my favorite films of all time have female lead roles. And it's just not an issue. It's not even a thing. It's not like, oh, I'm watching this film because there's a female. No. And it's the same with the whole lesbian aspect and the whole gay aspect to my film. It's the whole point of the film is that that's not a point. It's nothing to do with the film that it's a lesbian relationship. It's nothing. It's nothing to do with the fact that she's female either. The whole point in having a female and a lesbian is that it's not supposed to be a point. And a lot of representation of gay people and stuff, and especially in shows like that specifically cater to the female audience, or specifically pander would be a better way to say, is that they try and say that you're special for being gay, or that you're special because you're a woman. And this film is just supposed to say that everybody's the same, and you're not special for being gay, you're not special for being straight, you're not special for being a woman, and you're not special for being a man, and at the end of the day, we're all humans underneath. And I think that's the strong message of every sci-fi. Every good sci-fi, you look at it, and it's just about humanity, and you can take a very human story and chuck it into the middle of space 1,000 billion years in the future, and have flying cars and lasers and spaceships and all sorts of sci-fi weird gimmicks, but at the end of the day, it's all about humanity. It doesn't matter about those things. Those things make it awesome as a sci-fi, but if you took all that away, you'd still have the story that is about humanity. And maybe some people won't like that. Maybe some people will think, oh, you didn't show the struggles that gay people go through, or you didn't show the struggles of being a woman. That's just not important to me with this film. The reason why I'm doing it that way is because just your standard audience member could watch this, and maybe they're not interested in I wouldn't say gay rights. They're not maybe they're just not interested in that aspect of the world. They believe that gay rights are important and that having female leads are important. But when you go to watch a film, you don't want to see that. You want to see a story, and you want to see a story told well. And you want to feel with the audience, you want to connect with it, and you want to connect with the film. But yeah, that's my whole rant on having a female lesbian as part of my film. I think that's most of what I really want to cover in the first video of this. There's probably a lot that I've missed, but that's why I'm going to be doing more uploads and more coverage of this. Like I said before, this is just going to be really a look at the process that I'm going through with this new film, and it's you can think of it as almost like an ongoing reflective evaluation of each step that I'm going through with this film. So I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you in the next one, even if it's just me watching it. Goodbye.